Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Proline, the NFL version. It is week 6 of the NFL. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by Jeff Sott of Las Vegas Sports Services, as well as world champion handicapper Jim Feist. Got a couple of NFL games to talk about. Got our Twitter question of the week. But first, a couple of these guys here have had monster runs. Jim, we're going to start with you. 46-26-1 football run the last month. You've been tearing it up with totals 18-9. You got a big special going this weekend. How can everybody get aboard a Vegas Pro?
Well, for $21, it's that easy. $21, you get the rest of October. That includes the Major League Baseball playoffs, two college games of the month going Saturday, including the rivalry game of the month, that's early Saturday, and my NFL total of the month on Sunday. You just call 1-866-841-1655. As John said, I have been red hot. Naturally, every once in a while we stub our toe, but we've been red hot since the beginning of August. We expect to continue that right through the season, and we're working real hard to do that. So you make the call, 1-866-841-1655. We will deliver the winners. We've got the rest of October for $21, and that includes some big plays.
And Jeff Sott of Las Vegas Sports Service, and another winning NFL Sunday, and your college football has been on a roll the last 3 weeks combined. 15-5-1 against the spread. You've been tearing it up, and you got some more big games going this weekend.
Yeah, John, last week I advertised 3 games in this show, and all 3 of them won. I had my Big 12 game of the year, of the month with Baylor, ACC game of the month with Clemson, and then on Sunday my NFL shocker of the year won with the Arizona Cardinals. 15-5-1 in college football. I won my blockbuster last week with the Ravens. 3rd week in a row I won my NFL blockbuster. That's the highest rated play that I have. Everything's going great here at LVSS. This week I have 2 more conference games a month on Saturday, plus my NFL Road Warrior game of the year on Sunday. You get all 3 for only $19. Call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. 1-866-575-8916.
All right, we've got a couple of games to look at, the Packers-Ravens, and then the big game, Saints-Patriots. But first, our Twitter question of the week. This is how you out there can get involved. You can Twitter us at Twitter at Jim Feist Sports, or go to Facebook at Proline TV. This question comes from Cal Johnson of Springfield, Maine. Has there ever been a higher betting number than the Broncos-Jags game coming up this weekend? And we did a little research, found the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, back when they were an expansion team in 1976, were a 24-point dog at Pittsburgh. They lost 42-0. And then going back to 1966, there was a 24-point line with the expansion Atlanta Falcons against the Colts. What was unusual is they actually led at the half 7-6 before losing at 19-7. So, Jim, this is the highest line you've seen in some time?
Well, I don't remember any line being higher than this, in my memory anyway. So, and I guess I didn't bother going back through record books or anything. But I do know that when you look at a game like this, you have to say to yourself, it's a long season. It's all about whether the Broncos want to beat this team by a lot of points. So that's the question. Why would they want to? They just came off a very tough game against Dallas, and they were pushed to the limit in that game. And honestly, they were kind of lucky to win it, because Dallas, without that turnover at the end, Dallas might have ran or got down the field, kicked the field goal, and won the game. So I think they come home and there's a breather here. As far as I'm concerned, Denver should take a breather here. Should get a lead first half, pull the players a little bit, give them a little bit of a rest, because they got a long season in front of them. That's what I would do as a head coach. And, I don't know if you can get Peyton Manning off the field. He just loves to play football. Even if he's up 50-0, he's probably going to be throwing touchdowns. But I think the coaching staff will probably hold him back a little bit. And I think the possibility the Jags cover this number.
Well, Jeff, I heard a rumor that you're looking at Jacksonville on the money line at plus 800,000. Is that correct?
You still probably won't have any takers. This is for to lay 27 points, wherever it is, in this situation. I don't see any way you can really put money in this game. They're coming off, as Jim said, that big game emotional win over Dallas. They have a coach next week with Manning's former team. Why would you want to lay this kind of points to this situation? It's just a great game to lay off of, as far as I'm concerned. I know those other two big point spreads back in the 70s, those involved expansion teams. This Jacksonville's an established team, and they're still getting these kind of points. It's embarrassing. So it's just kind of game that you just want good game to lay off of. I want to go near this game, John.
Yeah, and the more recent game was the 2007 Patriots had a couple of lines where they were 20-point plus favorites, and the biggest one was when they played the Eagles in midseason, a 24-point favorite, and they almost lost the game. It was a 31-28 game. They had the backup quarterback, A.J. Feely, going, but Feely played very well, and they almost pulled the upset as a huge dog. So historically, the Dogs, when they've been this big a number, have done very well. Okay, guys, let's get to our first game. Get the Packers playing at the Ravens on Sunday, a non-conference game. A couple of teams with established veteran quarterbacks who like to throw the football. Jim, the Packers are the road favorite, and yet they are 0-4 ATS the last 4 road games, and really since 1999, the Ravens have been pretty good at home. They can struggle at times on the road, but they have a very good spread record at home.
You know, John, those stats and things, I know a lot of people follow them. I don't look at history as much as a lot of folks because, quite honestly, the coaching staffs have changed. The personnel has certainly changed. The circumstances have changed. Now, both these quarterbacks like to throw the ball a lot, and they both have big arms. They can throw the ball downfield. However, they're both trying to develop running games. And if you look at the Ravens last week against Miami, they ran the ball a lot. The Packers are trying to run the ball a lot as well. Why are they doing this? Because offensive lines in the NFL these days are actually pretty weak at protecting against pass rushes, and the quarterbacks are getting sacked a lot. And what happens then is your quarterback gets hurt and he's no longer there. So smart coaching is going to try to develop offensive lines to be able to block for the running game and running backs to get some more yardage, keep the rush down, get the defenses to sit back on their heels a little bit, protecting the quarterback. It's just not smart to go out there and pass on every down and get your quarterbacks killed, unless maybe you have a mobile quarterback that can avoid a lot of that. But look at Michael Vick did that last week. He pulled a hamstring. It wasn't on a hit, but because he's moving around a lot, he did that. We just lose too many quarterbacks. We lost a couple. One up the Buffalo lost their starter. They lost one in the Cleveland Browns lost the starter last week, and it's just too much. So protect your quarterback, develop a running game, and I think both these teams are trying to do that. That doesn't mean they won't throw the ball. I think teams are going to get smarter as the seasons get longer with the injuries and everything. And I don't think this is going to be a shootout. The other thing is, when you look at Baltimore, the Super Bowl champion, this team has lost a lot of players from last year. Offensively and defensively, they're nowhere near the team they were a year ago. So, yes, they have a good record at home covering. And I'm not saying I'm on the Packers here. What I'm saying is, when you look at history, I throw it out the window in many cases. Because you go back to 1999, you're talking 14 years. These guys weren't there 14 years ago. The coaching was all different 14 years ago. To me, it means absolutely nothing. So, and then when you look at a team like Baltimore going through the transition that they went through, defensive and offensive players are gone. It's a different team. So I don't look at that as seriously as a lot of other guys do.
Well, Jeff, Green Bay is 14-5 against the spread when they face a team with a winning record. And on the other side of the coin, you have Joe Flacco. I mean, in January and February, he was phenomenal. 11 touchdowns, no picks. And yet this season, 5 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Who's the real Joe?
Yeah, well, Jim said both teams are trying to run more, but the Packers are having much more success. The offensive line, obviously the Ravens having problems there. Joe Flacco last week, 5 interceptions. It's not even close to his production of last year. This year, the Ravens are averaging 78 rushing yards per game, 2.8 yards per carry, compared to 4.6 yards per carry last year. They're 22nd in offense. The Packers averaging 5.3 yards per carry, compared to 3.9 last year. Obviously, that makes their Aaron Rodgers even more effective. Defensively, the Packers allowing away 3.7 yards per carry. So right now, these are two teams that I think are going in different directions. I think the Packers are improving a lot here, especially after that bye week and the win over Detroit. The Ravens were my blockbuster play last week. They won, but I was hoping it wouldn't be that close. They actually were kind of fortunate to win that game. So right now we have a Packers team that's relatively healthy. Eddie Lacy and Clay Matthews are probable this week. This will be the first good quarterback the Ravens have faced since game one when they faced Peyton Manning. We know what happened in that game. So I'm going to lean toward the Packers this game, John. I think right now this is it's a very low line, 1.5 to 3, depending on where you are. I'll take the Packers in this game, John.